New mask.
What's that?
Same task.
I don't want to hear the man was not meant to meddle medley. I see a suit of armor around the world.
For no particular reason, after the release of Fantastic Four, I think it's a good time as I need to go over possible explanations on why Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark. In universe, at least. Out of universe, the answer is pretty obvious.
Here comes the money!
Here we go.
For this, I'm going to go over a few possible explanations and rate them on how plausible they seem, with an additional theory that I made up myself. I'm not saying any of these are right or wrong. If you disagree with any of my thoughts on these, that's totally fine. And don't worry about spoilers, but you should watch First Steps anyway. It's fantastic. With that out of the way, let's get to it. Stark variant. This one has already been disproven, but it's the most obvious answer, so let's explore it anyway. After collecting the Space Stone from S.H.I.E.L.D., Tony meets Howard Stark and has a conversation with him about his son. Combine that with Steve returning the stone in a non-Tesseract form, some butterfly effect happens, which leads to Tony becoming Victor Von Doom. This doesn't really explain why he calls himself Dr. Doom or why he's suddenly more advanced than Tony Stark, and it would probably upset a lot of people that Chris Evans' only role in the film is just a cameo for returning the stone. A 1 out of 10. Doom uses it to intimidate the Avengers. This has a likelihood of being true, and has a lot of potential for Doom to torment our heroes. However, I don't think they're only doing this just to give us a I Hate You 3000 scene with Peter Parker. A solid theory, but not enough meat to say it's definitive. 7 out of 10. Tony took Doom's title. Tony from another timeline dons Victor's mask and replaces him as Dr. Doom. Or switches minds with him, similar to the Ultimate Universe with Reed Richards. This is a little underwhelming, and if this does end up being the case, they better leave the door wide open for an actual Victor Von Doom to replace him later in another film. 3 out of 10. Doom resurrected and merged with Tony. Without spoiling anything, while this is technically possible for Doom to do, it's not been built up to at all, and it's been stated Doom won't be Tony. 2 out of 10. Doom is pretending to be Tony. This is a pretty good one. Doom isn't a variant of Tony, but he poses as a variant to gain the trust of the Avengers. And at the end of the film, everyone will learn of his mask, which leads to a final showdown, which somehow leads into Secret Wars. On its own, this is a pretty good theory. One of the most likely ones. An 8 out of 10. However, I feel like this theory is pointing in the wrong direction, and doesn't fit the quote I brought up at the beginning. That, and the mask would obviously not work on the Fantastic Four, who already know what Doom looks like, which makes me think he isn't trying to trick the Avengers. He's trying to achieve something by doing this, or trick something else. Which leads me to my next theory, one I made up myself. Anchor being. Tony since Avengers 1 had been fearing the end of the world, acting like it was his duty to prepare for it. And after Doom came to the same realization Kang did,
universes colliding. Endless incursions. I saw the multiverse, and it was dying.
he realized it all tied back to the sacred timeline, Earth 1999-99. From there, he made himself look like its previous anchor being Tony Stark, to gain control of the sacred timeline and make it his own. And then, just like what Kang was going to do,
they burn the broken world, and they make a new one.
which of course ends up being Battleworld. I doubt I'm the first person to think of this theory, but it is a neat way of both in and out of universe explaining why he looks like Tony, and it ties everything together before the soft reboot. The only problem is this does mean Doom will not wear his mask while disguised as Tony. However, we're still not seeing Victor's actual face, which does leave the door open for him to come back as someone other than RDJ in a later movie. 8 out of 10. Doombot. This one felt obvious to include. The Doctor Doom we meet turns out to just be a Doombot that looks like Tony. It's a way to explain why he looks like Stark now, but won't in later films. A 5 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed this shorter video. If you have your own explanation or have thoughts on the ones I mentioned, feel free to bring them up in the comments below. I'd like to see what you guys got. If you're getting a little tired of superhero movie content, I've got some more video game stuff coming down the pipeline. Until then, it's safe to say the MCU is officially back and here to stay.